Thanks everyone, and thanks for the sing-along. It's actually my birthday too, so there you go. So I'm going to present the Great Boulder story today. This is an emerging gold story in Western Australia. It's a really strong story, it's a good story to tell, and we're having a lot of fun developing it. And I'm going to explain why we think it's exciting and why people should pay attention to Great Boulder. I think, we're on the cusp of a real surge in gold stocks in Australia. Obviously, the gold price is very strong, sentiment is coming back, producers are making a lot of money, and that is starting to flow downhill into the exploration space. And when it's on, it's going to go fast. So, Great Boulder, all about Sidewell. The Sidewell Gold Project in Meekatharra is our flagship. We've been working there 3 years. We've found 2/3 of a million ounces in 2 deposits, high grade, and we've got a clear path towards 1 million ounces. We're just starting the next phase of our growth of exploration now, pushing towards 1 million ounces, which will be followed by scoping studies next year and doing all the work to push this through into development. I won't talk too much about the board and the corporate structure, but suffice to say, run by geologists. We brought in Karen O'Neill as a commercial person to keep us on the straight and narrow, and a very, very strong technical team run by Dan Doran and backed up by Dr. Scott Halley, who's pretty much a living national treasure. Key things here: corporate structure capped at $36 million, 4 mil in the bank, so 32 mil EV, and just a couple of instos on the register there being Collins Street, getting up close to 9%, and the Widup Lion Selection Group fund at just under 2. So now this is the regional setting at Meekatharra. So this map is hopefully easy enough to see in the back seats. Westgold is in blue right down the middle, and on their eastern boundary is Great Boulder. We've got the Meeka guys to the north at Andy Well, they're pretty busy up there. Ora Gold recently came out with a very nice little high-grade resource on the west side there at Crown Prince. And to the south of us, down towards Nanine, is the Odyssey crew. So there are 4 advanced explorers in the region, and collectively we control about 2.5 million ounces. Each company is doing its own thing, and we're all at different stages. I argue that Great Boulder has the best growth story out of those 4. I'm sure the other managing directors might tell you something different, but I'm going to explain why. And this is the guts of it. So we're here in the heart of Meekatharra, and all of the Westgold operations are up the west side here. If you follow that stratigraphy around, comes down the east side of our project. We're actually drilling previously untested targets there that are the stratigraphic equivalent of the Paddy's Flat group. So that in itself is pretty exciting and unusual to have effectively a greenfields project in an area with 140 years of mining history. As I said, we've got resources divined at Mulga Bill and Ironbark already, and late last year we cleared all these new targets for testing down that eastern corridor. So that's what we're calling the Ironbark corridor, which is about 14 kilometres long. This is the tenement overview, and I'll zip through this a bit because I'm running low on time, but you can see Meekatharra in the background. That's the airport there in the middle distance. Looking north towards Mulga Bill and Mulga Bill North. Ironbark, that's 100,000 ounces there. And to the south, you can actually see Saltbush in the distance, which is our new discovery. That'll be our next resource. And this is all mineralised the whole way down past Ironbark and out to the north. It's a really, really exciting chain of exploration targets. The geology that we're piecing together, we've got a really smart young technical team who are out there on the ground doing mapping, and they've pieced all this together, and this is actually the latest addition. And the important thing here, you can see those syncline structures through the greenstone belt, and further to the south is this Pol L project that we haven't even looked at yet. So at Mulga Bill, 560,000 ounces here. This has got some extremely high grades in it, and last year for 3 or 4 months we had the highest grade gold hit in the world. So there's some extraordinary grades here at Mulga Bill. It's got a well-defined supergene blanket, some of which contains extremely high supergene enrichment mineralisation. Then beneath that we have this combination in the grey of subvertical lodes running north-south and stacked high-grade quartz veins, probably a later orogenic mobilising event, and they're dipping at about 45 degrees. The strike continuity of those is extremely good, and they appear to be plunging towards the north, so we'll be drilling them for deeper high-grade targets later on. We have a resource over that, and these are conceptual pit designs, and then if you continue to the north, that's all mineralised as well. We just haven't had the time or the drill metres up there yet to put that into resource, so that's an obvious extensional target there for Mulga Bill. Moving across though to Ironbark, we've got, as I said, 100,000 ounces there at surface. It's nice and straight, tabular ore body, sort of thing you see in the goldfields all the time. And this basically daylights, so there's no alluvial cover here, no depletion, straight into the ore. So that's a very nice asset in itself. Looking forward though, the key is what we've learned from our exploration at both those two deposits we're now applying to other targets in the area, and the importance of pathfinder minerals in the geochemistry. So this is something that we've really fine-tuned over the last 3 years. So this is a map of bismuth concentration in auger data over about 14 kilometres. And bismuth is typically a hot element. You can see there's quite a lot of it here on the edge of the granite and another rather diffuse area to the north. So these are what we style as Mulga Bill style targets, where bismuth is a very strong correlation to gold. So if we find the bismuth, we think we're on the right track to find gold. Arsenic, on the other hand, is a key pathfinder for ironbark style orogenic deposits. Saltbush here at the south end is one of our first targets. At the north end, there's quite a big area there that we've only just done the first air core holes on quite recently. So combining those together, this is again the Mulga Bill heat map. You can see there's some really nice bullseyes there to test. The ironbark assemblage heat map. Saltbush, as I said, was the first target that we drilled, and when we started drilling just before Christmas, we hit high grade there straight away on the second RC hole that we drilled. So Saltbush is a really important proof of concept in the fact that our geochemical targeting is working really well, and Saltbush will be the next resource. It's already about 300 metres long, nice and simple, looks exactly like ironbark. These sorts of things are very important because they'll not only give us more ounces in the mining profile, they will also give us flexibility of scheduling, which is a key for developing Mulga Bill itself. If you then apply that IP to the south, we actually have very similar targets down at Polel. There's almost no drilling on this entire tenement, and interestingly, this is the Bluebird Mill just over the road, so this is a pretty strategic place to be. We don't anticipate necessarily that we'll be using the Bluebird Mill. Obviously we would like to. That would require a conversation with Westgold, and we will be having that conversation at a later date. So as I said, the plan is to move this, continue growing. We think the best bang for our buck now is to continue growing the resource, move into scoping studies early next year, and start demonstrating the economic potential and putting the proof in the pudding for this project. So I think it's going to be very exciting next 6 months and the coming years ahead. So thank you for your time.